phase of quick ride?
Turn.
Bingo. Short and sweet. Love it. That's the way forward. Can you remind me the steps of turning? Anyone know?
Static.
Yeah, what's the static?
Practicing turns, stood still.
A little bit ahead of time.
Okay.
That's we have the two statics.
Heads up, boys.
Oh, it surprised me. I wasn't expecting to get wiped out here. There are two statics in turning. One of the one you're describing is walking through the turns.
Okay, yeah.
That's step 3.
Yeah.
There's 4 steps. You can choose 2 options at step 2. Yeah. What's that?
This is talking through the hip movement.
Yeah.
Whilst you don't have a board on.
Yeah.
And showing the movement of the heels, maybe.
Just like how showing that the feet rotate as the hips rotate. Just reminding people that this is the movement that we're making to create pivot in the board. Yeah. Standard foot rotation exercise. I so rarely use it in an actual lesson, sometimes I forget what it's called. This is one that I'll tend to only use when someone really doesn't understand what to do with their hips. Well, at this point, usually they do. I'm just going to make sure I get it exactly right. Static rotation exercise. What do we do after that?
Garland exercise or chicken out turns.
Or 2 options here. You garlands, or you can do something we've done before.
J turns.
Yeah, there you go. Pick one or the other. When might J turns be preferable to garlands?
You're building upon the lesson where you've already covered J turns.
I mean, that's every lesson pretty much. But you think about maybe the conditions. What conditions might not lend itself that well to garlands, but would be a little bit better for J turns?
So what is garland?
Sorry, a garland is when people it's getting people to put their board in the full line with a flat base, but without the stress of changing edges. So start on your heel edge, point your board down the hill with a flat base, go back to your heel edge and come to a stop.
Okay, yes.
Yeah. What might first of all, how are garlands different from J turns?
More time in the full line. More speed.
A little bit, maybe. What about the shape of the turn? That's your garland shape. That's the J turn shape. Cool. So, what conditions might lend themselves more to a J turn than a garland?
Steeper.
Nah, I don't think so.
Conditions of pitch. Like are we...
Conditions. Okay, so I think garlands would be better in ice or firm conditions. So what might J turns be better in? How? If you've had a 35 centimetre dump after the groomers have come through here, it's not like we stop lessons. You've got to teach in 35 centimetres of powder. You ain't going to do a garland in powder because you just catch your edges immediately. I don't know if I could do a garland in powder. So, J-turn in deep, soft snow is much better because it allows you to sort of draw out the turn and slowly edge and steer over a long period of time. Which again, why garlands are better on steep stuff, it's firmer because you spend less time picking up speed. But you need a little bit of speed to turn in powder. Just being trying to highlight that all of these parts of quick ride are tools to use, and the part of being a good instructor is understanding what tool fixes what problem. If you're trying to hit a nail with a screwdriver, then you cool. So with that in mind, let's go through this. I'm going to do my little spiel again. It's going to be an A&I session with turning. So let's head on over to the slide.
They look so funny because they don't have their holes. They just like big children. Look at
You can leave the boards off for a start, flip it upside down, because the start is without the board on, so that makes life easy. This little session is going to be on analysis and improvement with the quick ride section of turning. analysis improvement is really important when you're teaching a lesson. It's basically what separates us from Joe blogs teaching their partner on the slope. The analysis part is us being able to watch somebody snowboard, use a core competency to detect a problem, or something that they're doing really well, potentially. And then we compare them to an ideal and make a plan for improvement. The improvement part is we think of a way to provide them feedback that is positive and like student-centered, while giving them a way for next time to make it feel even better. So during this session, hopefully you can see that I can either assess whether you need some improvement in a particular core competency, or I'm just like reinforcing a good thing that you're doing really well and maybe giving you a challenge for it instead. So feedback doesn't always necessarily have to be critical, it can just be telling somebody the things that they're doing well. But what I would like you to notice is that when I'm telling you the things that I'm doing well, it's not just like, that was great, which is really vague and like non-specific, but I'll tell you exactly what you were doing that was great. So for instance, you've got a nice center position, balancing both feet, good like looking up body position, whatever it is, there should be a specific like body movement. So I'm going to go into like instructor mode now and teach a little turning session. So yeah, follow along and see what you think. So yeah, I'll do my like Love Island into the lesson. Yeah, so welcome everybody. It's the afternoon. We're going to learn how to turn today. You guys can use your heel and your toe edge pretty nicely. So we're going to try and put the two together and do some actual snowboarding. So the first thing I kind of want to do is I want to highlight to you guys, just like reaffirm how turning our hips turns the snowboard. So if I can get everyone to stand up, great. And all we're going to do here, we're going to take our snowboard stance. And I just kind of want to reintroduce the fact that turning our hips allows us to steer the board. So at the moment that we move our hips over our new edge in a turn, we're nice and flexed in the knee and ankle. If we turn our hips, you'll notice your feet kind of want to do a bit of a windstream-like movement to allow them to steer in the same direction. And as we're doing this, if you're goofy and you're steering on your heel edge, you're going to do this to the right. If you're left foot forward, you're going to do it to the left on your heel edge. That's going to be balanced on the base of the heel. And if we're on our toe edge, balanced on the ball of our foot, regulars are going to do a steer through to the right, to go to the right, and goofy footers are going to do a steer through to the left, to go left. Nice. Hopefully you should be feeling your foot push up against the boot as you do that, and it's that foot pushing up the side of the binding that's going to allow the board to turn during your snowboarding. Is that making sense for everyone? Bingo. And so now we kind of have felt that out. We're going to strap on the board and do something called a garland. And this is going to be a great way to practice in the beginning and end of a term without actually having the stress of changing edges. So get strapped in and I'll show you how we're going to do it.
What was it called garland? Why is it called garland?
Like, you know, like Christmas, you have stairs and there's a garland going down the, like bunting or whatever, going down the stairs. Or a chicken out turn. Some people don't like calling it that.
We do, right?
Yeah, let's do this in switch. Let's try and improve your Probably got five regulars and one goofy. Okay, we're even in the score of it. Yeah, if you're normally goofy, we're good.
Yeah, 2 feet.
Cool, so if you are going to be riding with your right foot forward, this is what you're going to be doing. In a second, you're going to start on your toe edge like this. You're going to start to slide very gently backwards. As you do that, you're going to slowly rotate your hip to the right. As the board starts to come down the hill, you're going to move your hip to the balls of your feet. Flat base. As soon as the base is flat, the board is down the hill, you're going to move your hip back over the balls of your feet and gently steer your hips to rotate to the left. This is going to allow the ball to come back across to the toe edge. You're going to come to a stop and then you're going to do the same thing again. So you go toe edge, toe edge, toe edge. If you are going to ride with your left foot forward, we are going to be on our heel edge. You're going to start to slide forwards, you're going to rotate your hip to the right, and start to bring your hip towards the middle of the snowboard again. If the board is flat and the nose is pointing down the hill, you're going to move your hip back over your heel edge and gently rotate your hip to the left, bringing yourself back into a heel side slip. And again, we're going to do these all the way across the hill to the left until we get to the magic carpet. Obviously, we're going to be using a fairly large amount of the hill here, so if you start like moving into anyone's path of travel, just put the brakes on for a second and wait for them to go past. Yeah, always look up the hill before you go. Is that making sense to everyone? I'm going to do 2 or 3 in my goofy stance, and then I'll show you some in my natural stance on the heel. It looks something like this.
You're going across, I look uphill, I point, I don't want to go that way.
Just to show you guys just focus on that. Go.
the board to be a little bit more reactive. I noticed like you kind of start the heel side turn with a bit more of a swing from the shoulder. Just make sure as you open the shoulder, the hip and lower joints rotate with it, just like when we were doing that static rotation exercise. Then hopefully you'll feel that the board will come around a little bit quicker because the feet and the hips are so much closer to the snowboard. Does that make sense? Yeah. Sweet. And then who's next? Yeah. So very strong steering with the lower body. That was good and reactive. To make yourself feel more balanced and relaxed on the toe edge, try and avoid looking at your feet. As soon as you look down, your lower body tends to tense, and then it becomes like less loose and looks a little bit more rigid. And then we have Luke. Luke, very good steering motion with the lower body. To make it feel more fluid, just do it a little bit more gentle. So at the moment it's quite a strong, quick movement. Let's try and make it a slow, gentle movement. You can still be strong, but like strong and gentle. Sometimes it just looks like you would like nearly steering so hard you're knocking yourself a little bit. Who went next? Josie. That was really good. Again, like very strong steering with the lower body. Make sure that when we're making our turns in a minute that you don't oversteer. Sometimes you like nearly steer the board like the nose back up the hill a little bit, and that'll make it hard to move into your next turn later on. So when we're steering, just see if we can keep the board just across the hill. Jack. Again, very good position on your board, nice body. Just notice that when you were getting the board flat, it was like not entirely pointing all the way down the hill. So this time you can just challenge yourself just to point it that a little bit further down the hill and get it flat fully in the fall line. Yeah, that was really good otherwise. Yeah. Kieran, for yourself, good body position, nice job keeping your head up compared to earlier. The lower body steering is very good. To allow this to be a little bit more of like a fluid movement, see if like, don't wait until the board comes to a complete stop to go into the next fall line. Like try and let the board like just like 2 seconds before it's about to grind to a halt, go back into the flat base, and then you'll find the board is a little bit more easy to maneuver. It's quite hard to get it going from like static. Cool. So if you went heel side this time, you're going to go toe side. If you went toe side last time, you're going to go heel side. Let me just very quickly remind you guys of that. So if you're going left foot forwards and you're going to do your toe side one, we're going to start balanced on the balls of our feet. We're going to start to slide. I'm going to rotate my hip to the left and move my hips into the middle of the snowboard. Once it's pointed down the fall line with a flat base, I'm going to move my hips back over the balls of my feet and rotate my hips to the right. It's going to bring me pointing back up the hill. I'm going to come to nearly a stop and then go again. If I'm doing this with my right foot forward, balanced on the base of my heel, I'm going to start to slide forward by lowering my toes. I'm going to start to rotate my hip to the left towards the carpet. Move my hips to the middle of the snowboard to let it go flat. Once it's flat and pointed down the hill, I'm going to move my hips back over the base of my heel, turn my belly button to the right towards the trees until I am going across the hill and the side slip again, and so on and so on. Does that make sense to everyone? Sweet, should look something like this. Look up before you go. Miss that one. So over here we might be able to avoid some of that. And now on the toe edge.
I'll be doing heel. Just doing opposite.
I mean, it makes sense. I gotta be able to listen to you guys.
Yeah.
Like I could probably I need to be able to hear if I have one of my good. Now we're gonna turn. Stop it. Okay, we're gonna turn this way. Take a pizza. Do you wanna go? Take a pizza.
job, guys, on the lower body steering. I feel like everyone is like was definitely steering more with the lower joints there. Much more patient and gentle. Luke, you did a really some slide